Hey Virgo, how's it going? There's a lot of calmness in your energy today, I think, and we'll get into that. Anyway, my name's Alex, and I think the Oracle and I might have some valuable insight for you today. Now, before I turn the camera on, I like to do a meditation and tune into your vibe and pull an I Ching hexagram for you. The first thing I got in my meditation was just a sentence. The imaginal realm is the space. I'm not exactly sure what that means for you particularly. Maybe you're looking for a space to do something creative or to work something out. And maybe it's just in the imaginal realm, in your imagination, in sort of the dream space or the astral space. Or if you study Kabbalah, the ninth sphere of Yesod, or the sphere of the moon, the sphere that's so-called foundation. That's the imaginal realm. And it's the final realm before physical manifestation. So if you have all these spiritual spheres that work together, descending from the Most High, Godhead or the absolute reality, descending through the spiritual spheres, and all that comes together to manifest the material world that we live in, that final sphere just before physical manifestation is the imaginal realm, or the moon realm. And it's where human culture comes from. It's where human civilization comes from. It's where the world comes from, where all of our ideas that manifest as our culture, our society, everything we do, our artwork, our sciences, our religions, our spiritual traditions, and the clothes we wear, literally everything originates in the imaginal realm. It's why it's called the foundation, according to the Kabbalah tradition. And I think you're probably doing something productive and creative. I don't know if you're an artist or if it has to do with the work you're in. Could be anything, but something that's just very productive and creative. And you might be trying to think of where do I get started for this? This new project or this thing, how do I work out this problem that I've got? And you might be looking for a literal place to do it, maybe a geographical place, a studio to rent out or something. But first, you need to visualize exactly what it is you're doing. You can work out this problem with your imagination first. Not to say you shouldn't continue and put it out in this physical world. Of course you should. But the space you're looking for in the immediate sense is apparently the imaginal realm. And then after that, while I was sitting in meditation, a giant turban formed around my head, a comically large turban made of gray cloth. Like a turban that nobody would ever wear. It was so big. And then I heard the words, Allah is watching. Now, I'm not Islamic, so it's a little bit strange for things like this to come in Islamic terms. Although a few of my closest friends are Islamic, so I guess it's not that unusual. But that was what I heard, was Allah is watching. But it felt like in a good way, not like in that judgmental sort of way, but in the way that a proud father would look at his child doing something very good. And I got this sense of golden light and golden warmth that came along with the words of just a proud father who was seeing his child just doing well, And then I pulled the I Ching hexagram for you, and I got I Ching hexagram number 15, Qian, or humbleness or modesty in some translations, and it has a changing line. The fourth line from the bottom is your changing line. Changes to little exceeding, which is hexagram number 62, near the end. There are 64 hexagrams. And humbleness was held in very high regard in the ancient world. Very, very high regard. And in fact, this hexagram made up of all these 6 lines, it's the only hexagram where all 6 lines are in their auspicious, correct places. You have all yin elements at the yin place and all the yang elements in their yang places. It's the most auspicious of the 64 signs. It tells you how much esteem that the ancients held humbleness in. And In the Tao Te Ching, a related text, Lao Tzu says, "I have 3 treasures that I guard and hold dear. The first is love, the second is contentment, the third is humbleness. Only the loving are courageous, only the content are magnanimous, and only the humble can command, or are capable of commanding." Now, this is because a leader, a proper leader, is only followed by those who truly want to follow them, right? A leader that has followers who don't really want to follow them isn't really a leader. And the people generally only want to follow a leader who has humbleness. That means a lack of pride and a lack of self-importance. That's like the idea of, now this is a very important idea, of how to not have pride and self-importance. That is to decrease what is excessive and to increase what is scarce. So to pay attention to what's going on, decrease what is excessive, increase what is scarce. And this could be literally like financially or in just the stuff that's around you. Decrease the clutter in your life that is distracting you that you don't need, and increase the things that you need, like what we would call productive capital. For example, if you're a painter, productive capital would be things like paintbrushes and paint and canvases, right? If you're a photographer, productive capital would be your camera, maybe some editing software on a computer, things like that. So to increase the things you need that you don't have enough of, and decrease the clutter. That could be in the literal material sense or the financial sense. Also decreasing characteristics that don't serve you about your personality, and increasing your strengths, the ones that do serve you and serve others, and bringing these things into balance, weighing all of these things and balancing these things. So the excessive becomes nominal and the scarce becomes nominal, and then you have nothing but nominal resources at your disposal. And this sets a good example for all the people around you. They'll see that, like, oh, this person is humble, this person is modest in their lifestyle, this person, and because of that humility and modesty in your lifestyle, they trust you because you become trustworthy. And then you can work harmoniously with these people. And the symbols, each hexagram, is made up of 6 lines, 2 groups of 3 lines. Those are called trigrams. Each trigram represents an element. So we have the element of earth on top and the element of the mountain below. Now, normally a mountain is characterized by the fact that it stands tall above the earth, but in this case, the mountain is below the earth. Now, this is the ultimate symbol of humility, a mountain being lower than the earth, right? That is the mountain, which is usually just so big you can see it for miles around. This one you really can't see because it's under the earth. And the earth symbolizes essentially gentleness, just gentleness. And the mountain symbolizes stillness. So being gentle and harmonious with those around you, even though you are giant and powerful, like that's part of working harmoniously with people. And in working harmoniously with people, you can restrain yourself, restrain your ego. And being humble doesn't mean restraining yourself and stopping yourself from doing what you want to do, or stopping yourself from having the power that you have, or expressing the power that you have. You can restrain your ego simply by working harmoniously and gently with other people. You don't need to hold back, like unnaturally repress yourself to be humble. That's a very toxic form of humility that a lot of people unfortunately fall into. You can still be your expressive, productive, creative, out and about self. Just do it in harmony and gentleness with those around you. And with this changing line, this 4th line here, now the most powerful line is this 3rd line from the bottom here, because it's the only solid line. You can see the rest are yielding lines. That's the so-called host of the gua, or the most auspicious. But your changing line is right above it, the 4th one. This means, this is actually really good. There's one caveat to all the good things about it. The one thing is that you just need to really, like, don't interfere with others or judge others. Like, keep to your own business, keep to your own affairs, and let other people have their affairs, and don't judge them or interfere with them. Just, hold your tongue when you need to. Try not to make any snarky remarks, or try not to have a holier than thou attitude, because at this time it will reflect very, very badly on you. Humbleness is really required of you at this time. But the great thing about having the changing line at the 4th place here, just above the so-called host, is that you're going to have an easy time being humble. You're like, humility is a muscle that you have to exercise. It takes a great deal of cultivation and effort and time to be modest. It's something that you practice. It's a lifelong practice, and it takes years, a lot of the time, to cultivate a good quality of humbleness. And it seems like you're already pretty good at that. Like, you've done a lot of that work. You've cultivated a lot of this virtue within yourself, and you're capable of exercising it and expressing it and radiating out your power and your vibrancy while still remaining humble. And it's because you're humble that you're so radiant. People recognize your power. You don't have to show off. People can just feel it and see it anyway. And because of your humility, and you because of the fact that you don't show off, it's like you have the effect of showing off. Not in a bad way. It's like, because you restrain yourself and you're so good at remaining humble, like, you get the reward anyway of being, like, recognized for all of your skills and talents and whatever it is that, just maybe your raw spiritual power, or your loving nature, or your other abilities that people recognize you for, and you don't need to show them off. People sense it about you, they know it about you, you just sort of lead by example and do your thing. And you're like riding a wave like a surfer, just being humble. You sort of just get pushed forward down your path where you're headed with less effort than it would normally take. Say if someone was not as humble, or if someone felt they needed to prove themselves all the time and show off, or whatever, like brown nose a little bit or something. Like, you don't have to do any of that. Like, a person like that has to work harder because they may be very good at something, but they're not humble about it, and so they get social resistance, and people don't really want to work with them, and all that sort of thing. But you don't have that social resistance. You are kind of just, you have social blessings, and these social blessings are sort of just pushing you down your path, like a boat down a river, or like a surfer on a wave. And that's, your father is proud of who you are and how this is working out for you. It's the Tao of heaven to decrease the full and increase the humble. It's the Tao of the earth to alternate the full, like the Wheel of Fortune, and make the full humble, like the Wheel of Fortune. So there's a warning in there, like the Tao of earth grinds the full, the first will be last, and then the last will be first. The Tao of heaven makes sure that the last become first. The Tao of earth makes sure that the first become last. And it's this wheel. And as long as you are humble, you sort of ride the wheel. The wheel turns, but you kind of, like what are those log flumers, or like lumberjacks that can just like walk on a log as it floats down the river because it's turning, but they're walking on top of it. That's you. You're the lumberjack on the wheel of karma, the wheel of fortune, going down the river, and you're just walking, and you're having an easy time of it. Good for you. So now I'm gonna pull some cards for you. I've got my own divination system here that I've developed over the years. We've got 24 symbols, 24 aspects of life and reality. I'm gonna spin a coin. It's going to point at one of these symbols. That'll be the aspect of your life that we're going to focus on and pull some cards on. So that'll be what the Oracle wants us to work with today. All right, what does Virgo need to know today? Okay. I might have to take back what I said about no social hindrances. It's possible you have something like that going on. We got the symbol of the traitor. Ooh, one of the scary ones. So the traitor isn't necessarily someone in the outer world. It could be a part of ourselves that holds us back. Self-sabotage, negative self-talk, talking to yourself like you're not good at what you're doing or you're not good enough. Imposter syndrome is an aspect of the traitor. These treacherous thoughts that we have about ourselves, having too much regret and guilt about things that happened long ago. You know, when we lie awake in bed at night and remember something that we did when we were 17 and we just feel guilty and stupid about it. It's like, nobody remembers but you. You know, we all go through it. But it could also be someone in your life, someone or something in your life that is having a negative effect on you or is looking to get one over on you. That could be something. I'm not trying to make you paranoid or distrusting, because you have humility on your side, you have this virtue on your side, and generally the humble are protected, as it is the Tao of Heaven to increase the humble. That includes protection from treacherous individuals and events. So I don't think this is something that you need to worry too much about, but the Oracle does want us to think about it for a moment here. I think it might be more something in your internal life. I think you might have negative self-talk going on, or imposter syndrome or something like that. So what does Virgo need to know about the traitor? What is it about the traitor? Justice. In this deck, it's, the Two of Swords. In this deck, it's called Peace, the Two of Swords, or they have just a little thing called Peace. So the symbol I chose for the traitor or the treachery is a little dagger, little knife. So we got Two of Swords. Now this person is blindfolded. So again, that indicates that this is probably something going on in your head, in your inner world. When your eyes are closed, you might have these thoughts, but you also have the ability to eliminate these thoughts, this negative self-talk, pretty easily. Oh, and there's the moon floating above her head there. Remember, the moon represents the sphere of the imaginal realm that we were talking about before. The imaginal space is the imaginal realm is the space. And maybe that's the problem you need to solve, is this negative self-talk. You can solve that problem with your imagination. You can imagine all of the great things about yourself, and you can realize that the bad things about yourself are also imaginary, that you think about yourself are imaginary, and that's the foundation of the world you want to live in. And so if both the great things about yourself originate in your imagination and the bad things about yourself originate in your imagination, these things will eventually manifest in your real life. And you can just choose which ones you want to manifest in your life. These good qualities about yourself or the bad ones, or a measure of both. And if I had the choice, of course I wouldn't choose the bad qualities to manifest in my life. That's something that we all struggle with, and that's something that meditation, you know, this is a card of meditation. Another one is the Four of Swords. And there are a few others. But this is a card of deliberate meditation, with like a real intention. It's a 2, so it's a choice card, you know. It has to do with you deciding the imaginal realm, what parts of the imaginal realm you want to manifest in the real world. And see, one of these swords is going through the moon here, going through this imaginal realm. That's like you made a choice to cut something out. You're going to make a choice to cut out those negative things and not let those manifest. But it's only cutting off a little sliver of the moon down at the bottom, and then we have like a lot of imaginal power left over to manifest the good things in your life. And balance, remember the I Ching, the superior person balances, you know, removes the excessive and increases the scarce and balances things. And this is a very powerful card of balance, so you're doing that very well, I think. Just keep the balance. You got to just keep aware of this issue. It's like humility, that requires exercise and practice and time and effort, working in the imaginal space is the same, because it can be very chaotic in there and push us around like a choppy ocean. Just torrents of water. The imaginal realm can move really quickly and powerfully. We can have a really good, serene imagining one moment and then get swept into this chaotic, terrible imagining the next moment very rapidly. So keeping an equilibrium of your imaginal powers, decreasing the excessive imaginal powers and increasing the scarce imaginal powers to calm the choppy ocean currents that make up the imaginal realm. And it takes effort and practice to do that, so that the life we manifest for ourselves is not coming from a choppy the choppy currents of a chaotic imaginal space, but the serene, controlled currents that you choose. And a serene imagination that begins to manifest in the serene life that you're living is inspiring to others. And you can work harmoniously with others in conditions like that. So I'm going to pull another card from another deck for you. Two of Swords and the Traitor. Yeah, you can't let your imagination betray you at this time. You need to gain control of it. Oh, this one. Oh, interesting. Yesterday, Taurus got this one. Desire. Cupiditas. Okay. Now, the realm of imagination on the Tree of Life, on the Kabbalah, is directly connected to the realm of Venus. This card has a lot of Venusian symbolism in it. The lotus floating in a bowl of wine, the pomegranate, and so on. These are very Venusian symbols. And the imaginal realm is connected directly to the realm of, the emotional center. And I think you have a desire to work harmoniously with people. But this desire could be volatile. You might be feeling like you need to interfere with some sort of group dynamic. You need to maybe cast a judgment on a group dynamic and interfere with something to force this group of people to work together better. But it might not be within your power to do that, at least not at this point. This desire to interfere could just be something that you need to just hold off on and let things play out for a little while. Don't try to rock the boat at this time. That might not be for all of you. Another interpretation for this card, Desire, being here with the Two of Swords on the Traitor, is that you might have a desire to just give up trying to control your imagination. That it's too difficult for you maybe, or you feel like it's too difficult. It can be overwhelming when sometimes, back to that example of just lying awake at night thinking of all the things we've done and said, maybe you have a lot of social anxiety. I can relate to that. Every time you go out and hang out with friends and then you come home, you start thinking about all the embarrassing things you might have said and all the stupid things you might have done, just hanging out with your friends. That happens. And you might have a desire to control that, and it might be, that desire to control it might be turning into a desire to give up on controlling it, because it's so difficult sometimes, and we get overwhelmed by these little social anxieties that we have. And that would be a betrayal of yourself. Giving up at this time is not something you should do. That desire to control your mind and your imagination comes from a pure place. It comes from a place of self-love, and it's important that you find a way to maintain that desire and keep it there. And another interpretation is that this desire with the Traitor here is that there might be a jealous love interest somewhere gumming up the works. Maybe you're the jealous love interest, so control your jealousy at this time, let things go. That could be it, is like you can't interfere with the way somebody else feels. You might have a desire for someone, you might be thinking about someone a lot, and that person, it might be unrequited. And if it is unrequited, you'll have to learn to let that desire go, because if you are consumed by it, it will have very negative consequences for you at this time. Again, that's not for everybody. But I'm going to clarify. I'm going to pull a token. I've made 64 of these tokens for my divination system. One last thing for us to think about to clarify these things. What does Virgo need to know about the Traitor, the Two of Swords, and Desire? What does Virgo need to know? Okay, here we have the Prison. So this is a bit of an intense reading. You are probably feeling trapped inside of your own imagination. It's possible that at this point your imagination has been getting the better of you. You might be a little bit consumed with obsession about something, or your own self-talk, your own inner traitor has temporarily defeated you, or has put you in a prison, has put you in a box, and you might feel a bit paralyzed and unable to move forward. But the thing is the imaginal realm is the space to solve this problem, so that means it's very easy to solve this. All these negative things I've been saying can be solved just through practicing some type of imaginal meditation or self-awareness practice, exploration of your own psyche. And, Allah is watching and is proud. Not that the Most High God can feel pride. I'm kind of anthropomorphizing here, but that proud father concept, it's like these negative things are just in your imaginal space. The origins of them are in your imaginal space. The origins of desire are sort of in that imaginal space, coupled with the emotional Venus space. And so it can all be solved through inner searching quite easily. That, you see, she's got a blindfold on. So it tells me that this prison really is just in your head. It's not, there are no social circumstances or financial circumstances holding you back. It's just something that you can solve through self-awareness practice, there are many different types of dream work you could do, meditations you could do, breathing exercise you could do. There are so many ways of working with your imaginal realm, with your imaginal aspect of your being. And you have a wealth of these things to choose from, to practice. And in my life, practicing in the imaginal space has relatively quick results because it's so close to us, it's so intimate with us and easy to access and easy to work with. Simple to work with, not necessarily easy. But the practices are simple and you can do them, and you should get started on them immediately. And you'll have great success. Everybody around you have social blessings, you have support from the people around you, people believe you're a natural born leader, you have humility and modesty. There's just these little hiccups inside of your imagination that, you might just be desiring something inappropriate, or talking to yourself negatively, or suffering from some social anxiety. And that's it. Everything else is working out. Everything else is smooth sailing for you. So if you just deal with these minor issues in the imaginal realm, it's like you just become a surfer surfing a wave down the path to success, and there's nothing blocking you. There's nothing real in society blocking you. You just have to explore your mind and your heart and your soul, your astral being, your imaginal realm, and gain control of it. And, maybe you'll learn how to lucid dream or something. Like, there'll be some real benefits to doing this practice. You'll transform yourself. You'll be just way more spiritually powerful after you start working in the imaginal realm. It's got a lot of great benefits, and I think you're at that point where it's like you're being shown like, look, you can have so much more power very easily. You deserve it, you're humble. You can have a great deal of spiritual power if you just learn how to work with the imaginal realm, and so much of your life will blossom and open up when you start doing that. Wow, I'm getting chills. Doesn't happen all the time. Okay, Virgo, I think I'm going to leave it there. I think that's all the Oracle and I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was really great seeing you, and I hope to see you again soon. I wish you all the best. Take care.